My husband thinks I baby trapped him despite already being married for 7 whole years, so he ran away last night. My husband, 35M, and I, 32F, have been married for 7 years. We lived next door to each other and just clicked, like a fairy tale. One thing I've always thought made our marriage strong was our friendship and trust in one another, although my husband seems to think otherwise now. Recently, my husband found out that his friend, Jeff, 34M, has been baby trapped. Basically, Jeff's wife, 32F, stopped taking the pill and fell pregnant a few months into their relationship, only coming clean after the wedding. Jeff, from a very conservative family, felt obligated to marry her after the pregnancy and now feels compelled to stay, regardless of the messed up dynamic, honoring his vow to support his wife and child. For some reason, my husband has been really rattled by this. I'm currently 4 months pregnant with our first child, and my husband asked me yesterday if I was trying to baby trap him. Initially, I laughed, thinking it was a joke. However, he was absolutely serious and doubled down. I explained that we've been married for 7 years, and having a baby wasn't going to trap him any more than he already is. He didn't like that answer, claiming there's no time limit on baby trapping, and my intentions weren't pure based on how I treated his concerns as a joke. He said he had trusted me in the past, but my reaction gave him no reason to trust me now. I wasn't sure how to respond, so I suggested we talk about it in the morning. Today, I woke up, and my husband was gone. I received a nasty text from his brother, 28M, accusing me of forcing my husband into this pregnancy, despite it being a joint decision. My husband is not responding to calls or texts, and I'm wondering how to move forward. Any advice is appreciated. Update 1. I realized while reading the comments that everyone was right, I wasn't angry enough. My husband had insulted me and our marriage in a very hurtful way, and it just didn't register for a while. I was so confused and upset that it didn't occur to me to be angry, but I think everything just needed to sink in. In the meantime, I called my best friend, 31F, who has been such a rock in my life. She came over with some sweets and was furious when she heard. She called her husband, 34M, to the house after I had gotten everything out of my system. He is a family lawyer and said that he would happily represent me if I wanted to go through with the divorce. This man is a saint and will draw up divorce papers on Monday. My mother-in-law, 66F, showed up with my husband in the car not long after my best friend's husband arrived, and she practically dragged him to the door. She said that he had shown up at theirs late last night, saying that he was certain that I was using the baby to trap him. Fortunately, my mother-in-law is a smart woman and absolutely tore him a new one before dragging him to the house today to apologize. My worm of a husband did not look me in the eye the entire time but said that he was scared about becoming a dad and projected his fears onto me. He said he wasn't sure if he was ready for that kind of commitment, and he ended saying he would step up if he needed to. I called him a coward and told him that he should stay with his parents until I am ready to talk to him. I didn't want to say anything about the divorce papers because I didn't know what his reaction would be, but he will find out soon enough. I also showed my mother-in-law the text from his brother, and her face was like a storm cloud. I don't know what will happen there, but I am sure it will be bad. For now, I am exhausted and just want to curl up and cry. My best friend has said she'll spend the night with me, and we can watch silly movies. I have also made an appointment with a therapist for next week, but for now, I just need to rest. I am exhausted and devastated that my marriage has come crumbling down. Update 2. Overall, everything has settled a little bit. In good news, I had a scan with the doctor, my mother-in-law also attended with me, and the baby is happy and healthy. I finally found out the gender. I'm having a little girl. I am over the moon. My mother-in-law was a gem and was so touched that I had included her in the scan. She is very excited to be a grandma. On that note, she organized a family lunch a couple of days after the scan. I was a little reluctant, but I knew that she had good intentions and wouldn't do anything to make matters worse. When I arrived, my husband and his brother were already there, along with my father-in-law, 70M. It was quite awkward until my mother-in-law asked if anyone had anything to say. My brother-in-law spoke first and apologized for his awful text, saying that he was swept up in the moment and wanted to support his brother. I explained how hurtful it had been to receive such a nasty and vindictive message, and that he knew as well as anyone that my husband and I had been trying for almost a year. He hung his head towards the ground and mumbled something I couldn't fully hear. It was like a weak sorry. That was pretty much the last I heard out of him for the afternoon. Next, my mother-in-law looked quite pointedly at my husband, but he actively avoided anyone's eyes. Eventually, she spoke up and announced that my husband would no longer be welcome to stay in their house. She said that she was ashamed to have her son behave the way that he has, and that she would prefer to make space for her granddaughter rather than have some lowlife hanging around. My husband had opened up his mouth to say something earlier, but his eyes lit up when she said granddaughter. My husband had always wanted a girl, and he was suddenly in tears, saying that he was so pleased to hear the gender. My husband was suddenly wanting to touch my belly and asked if he could come home and paint the nursery. I told him in no uncertain terms that he was not welcome and that he had destroyed any trust I had in him. I told him that if I took him back, I would be worried that he would disappear at any kind of big news and that I couldn't have someone at my side who balked at the first chance. He asked me if I was telling him it was over, and I point blank told him that I had solicited a lawyer. My husband was kind of frantic, but I felt so calm, like someone had put a blanket over me in the situation. Normally I am super emotional, but I felt so removed from everything. My husband said that this was not fair, that just because he had shown a little bit of panic, I was supposedly throwing away our life together and denying him his daughter. His dad reminded him that this is the same baby he felt trapped by no more than 2 weeks ago. My husband said it was a mistake and he was stressed, but his mom asked him how he thought I felt. She asked him to imagine being so vulnerable and giving up your body to grow a family, and suddenly the one person you trust is accusing you of terrible things. He said it was a mistake and he projected his fears onto me. I told my husband that I felt so broken when he left because I had all these dreams of a beautiful family which came crashing down in an instant. My husband said that he wanted those things with me and he wanted our baby girl, but that he let the panic overwhelm him. I told him that wasn't a good enough excuse for what he put me through, and that he certainly didn't seem panicked when his mom had to drag him to my door to apologize. He didn't have much of an answer other than to say that he was ready now and wanted our girl. In all of this, in all the times he told me he wanted me and our baby, he never once apologized properly. After a very long discussion, the lunch wrapped up, and my mother-in-law stood by what she had said about my husband not being welcome. He asked again if he could come home with me, and I told him that it was my house. I had owned the house before we got married, and it was going to be a safe space for me. That is to say, he was not welcome. As far as I know, he is staying at some hotel. Finally, he was served divorce papers at work on Friday. My best friend's husband drafted them earlier that week, but I wanted to wait until I had thought it all through. I received a few missed calls and crying voicemails asking if I was really throwing away our family, but I did not respond. My mother-in-law called me when she heard, and she supported me in my decision. She said she never wanted my marriage to end this way or for her son to be so callous, but she said she is here for my baby and me, and that we will always be family. She even tried to apologize on my husband's behalf, but I told her that was not necessary. At the end of the day, his actions are his to own. My best friend has been around all weekend, and we went baby clothes shopping for a little bit of sunshine in all of this. She has been such a rock, and her husband has helped so much with the process. I don't know what will happen next, but I feel much calmer and like I am making the right decision. I will update again if anything major or exciting happens, but for now, I just want to get through all of this and hopefully come out with a beautiful baby girl.